Hey folks, Gary here, doing a daily Bible reading for Monday morning, and we're looking at Psalm 105. And in the Psalm, right, the psalmist is saying, remember all the great things God has done. So he kind of walks through the history of the Israelites, which is pretty awesome. And today we're looking at verses 28 down to 36. It's about the time that the Hebrews spent in Egypt. Why they spent time in Egypt? Because there was a famine in Canaan, and so they had to escape that famine to go to a place where there was food, which was Egypt. So Jacob took everybody there. Joseph was already there, and so they waited out the famine, but they stayed. Like long after the famine was over, they're still there. But they grew into a massive nation, and that freaked out the Egyptians. So much so the Egyptians said, we got to do something. These guys have way too much influence in our country. And so they freaked out and enslaved them. And God says, enough of that. And so we hit verse 28. Moses and Aaron obeyed God, and he sent darkness to cover Egypt. God turned the rivers into streams of blood, and all the fish died. Frogs were everywhere, even in the royal palace. When God gave the command, flies and gnats swarmed all around. In place of rain, God sent hailstones and flashes of lightning. He destroyed their grapevines and their fig trees, and he made splinters of all the other trees. God gave the command, and more grasshoppers came than could be counted. They ate every green plant and all the crops that grew in the land of Egypt. Then God took the life of every firstborn son. So we say, man, that is harsh. It is harsh. God was judging them really quite hard for what they were doing because they were doing really despicable things. But God is also addressing every one of the gods that the Egyptians served or worshipped. So you read further in this, go into Exodus, read about all the plagues, and you'll see that every one of these plagues addresses a god that the Egyptians were worshiping. God's not just being harsh on them. God's also revealing who he is and saying, I am the real God. You need to worship me instead of these false gods because they're leading you down the wrong path. In a way, God is saying, you can have salvation as well. Excuse me. Do the Egyptians listen? No, unfortunately they don't. And so what lesson can we learn from here? Thanks, Cole. What lesson can we learn? What we can learn is this. A, if you're worried about people having influence, don't enslave them. Don't treat them harshly. That's number one, because that gets you in a lot of trouble with God. Number two, if God's pointing out idols in your life, get rid of them. They're not going to help you. Serve God instead. And number three, if you find you're in a position where, man, people are just really incredibly harsh with you and hard on you for whatever reason, trust God that he sees it and he's got a plan and he's going to take care of you. So 3 things we can learn from that. And number 4, have a great Monday. Go out there and make this day awesome. And be blessed. Catch you later.